Hi, hello. Welcome to the ChaChaChat of the 7th of October 2018. I'm going to make this a very brief video. I just returned home. I was away, stop the bangles. I was away for a family weekend, so I just returned home. My aunt and uncle drove me home, and they had this Zebro heater in their garage, and they never used it. And as I don't have any heating in my house, they they gave it to me. I'm so grateful, and they just drove it here and installed it here, and I just gave it a quick run to see if it works. And I must say it's a petroleum heater, so I must say I'm not too keen on the smell. I'm sort of here going like, ugh, it's quite nasty, especially when you turn it on and when you turn it off, and that means you have to ventilate and open the window. But in the wintertime, when it's cold, you put on the heater, and then you have to open the window. I understand that you need oxygen for heating like this, for igniting the heat and to let go of the smell, but I wonder what's the use of heating when you open the door or the window. It's not like, yeah, then it cools down immediately. So I'm really grateful. I'm really happy with it, and I always thought about buying one myself. But I must say, the way it smells in here right now is not good, and it's giving me a headache. But we'll see. I have to find a way to get. Yeah, I think the best thing is to turn it on, ventilate, and as soon as, because it smells the worst when you turn it on and off. So ventilate, then close the window, and switch it off when you go to another room, when you go to bed. But yeah, I live in a studio apartment, so there's really no other room to go to. So if I heat it at night and I go to sleep, I have to sleep in this smell. So perhaps I'll only use it when it's really, really cold. Also because, yeah, the petroleum is not really cheap. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. It's giving off a lot of heat, so if it gets really cold, I'm sure I will not mind the smell at all. I'll just be happy to be warm. So, but that's on a sidetrack. I just had a wonderful family weekend, and yesterday we went to Kinderegg, which is like a very Dutch thing to do. I've never been there before, actually. It's this place, you may know it if you Google Holland on Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever, Holland. You often see all these windmills in a row. I don't know how, I haven't counted them. But there are like lots of windmills in a row, and there were lots of tourists there, and there's a little boat going up and down, and you can see the windmills, and it's a really pretty sight. It really makes me, yeah, just love this country I live in. It's really, really pretty, and you see all the meadows and the cows and the windmills. It's just very Dutch. Um, yeah, so that was lovely. We had a little walk around there, and we took some pictures, and we sat on the terrace and had something to drink. The weather was gorgeous. It was like 22 degrees Celsius yesterday, and it's October. So, yeah, that was just such a treat. And we had a big barbecue in the evening. It was just a lovely day. I hadn't seen this part of the family for uh, quite some time, so it was also a bit, it was a bit how do you call it, nervous to see them all. This is not my real family. My father lived with this family when he was younger, and they sort of helped raising him. So they feel like family. When I was younger, I didn't know any better. So to me, they're family. And I certainly felt very welcome. But I hadn't seen them in a while because, well, my history and my father hasn't always been easy. And there was a time that I wasn't in touch with my father. And in that time, I also sort of lost connection with everyone on his side of the family because it felt a bit strange to be in contact with them and not with my father. So also to perhaps make it less uncomfortable, or I don't know, it just sort of happens that you sort of lose track, and it gets harder and harder to connect with people when when you haven't spoken in a while, and it's sort of it just gets harder to pick up the phone and make the first move. So I'm really, really grateful to have spoken and seen everyone, and for feeling so welcome, and them also giving me this beautiful heater and that I can stay there, and it's just wonderful. And it's really, really also very much what I needed, because last week I was not in a good place. I just felt down. I was crying all the time. I felt so, so tired. I had my pity party again. I was sort of isolating myself. We also had the yearly, how do you call it, work outing. You do something fun with the place you work. Every year we have sort of a surprise thing, and it's different every year. And we go somewhere, and that's always a lot of fun. I always look forward to it. And this year I just couldn't get myself to join. I didn't feel like partying. I didn't feel like socializing. And so there I was that day, almost alone at the office while everybody was gone having fun. And I was just sitting there wallowing in my own misery. Like, I got a lot of work done. That's a good thing when it's really silent, silent at the office. I was like practically the only one that didn't go. But yeah, almost like after an hour that they left, my fellow colleagues, I thought, oh, I should have gone. Why am I doing this to myself? And this is not helping matters. I mean, isolating yourself is not going to help. Sometimes you need isolation and being a hermit for a bit. But this was really not helping me feel better. So I was like, oh gosh, I wish I would have gone. And they went sailing and on this big, beautiful old sailing ship. And well, I missed that. So while they were chilling on the boat, I was working, and that's all my own fault. And I own it totally. But yeah, so I got in touch with them, and in the evening they had dinner somewhere in Amsterdam, so I joined them there. And afterwards there was dancing, and I was first when I came in, everyone said, come dancing. I was like, blah, humbug, I'm not going dancing. I'm going home, I'm not feeling well. I was still, when you look back now and I look at my own behavior, I'm like, silly girl, silly woman, what are you doing? I can also look with compassion. I mean, I know sometimes it's just hard sometimes you just can't muster the energy to pretend. Sometimes pretending helps, and then you actually experience it after a while. Like when you really don't feel like doing something, you start doing it often, you will start liking what you do. But yeah, here, so I really also felt like it. We had dinner and I had a bit of talk with everybody, and I sort of loosened up and actually felt like dancing. So out of my head, in my body, I had a nice little dance, and in the evening, I just felt totally fine. And this weekend, I just had a wonderful weekend, and I feel like totally different from last week. So I hope I keep this up, and that this week will be really, really. Now, I'm not going to hope. I'm going to make it a beautiful week. Hoping is no good. Hoping is always putting it into somebody else's hands or into chance or in the future. No, it's going to be a great week. I'm going to socialize. My pity party is over. And yeah, I've had it. It's going to, I don't even know what the pity party was all about, really. It's just, don't even have a reason. But yeah, I guess it was dark and chilly, and I don't know. Sometimes you just look at your life and you think like, oh, what's the point? But there's a lot of point, and there's plenty of point, and I'm worth it. And yeah, I don't even know what happened. Looking back at it now, I'm like, oh God, you can get so lost in your own cobwebs and your own little mind games. And I'm sure they will come back, and it's always a bit like this. And especially in fall, I always, when it gets darker in the evening and it gets a bit more chilly and less sun hours, I always get it always takes me a little while to get used to it. And I always get a bit gloomy and a bit depressed is too big a word. But yeah, I think crying and don't want to get out of bed in the morning is a form of light depression. So yeah, and I know I have this every year, so it's nothing new, and I'm not worried about it, and I'll be fine. But I also know that shutting myself from the world and punishing myself is not helping anything. So on that note, I just wanted to say to you, if you are experiencing the same thing, please be compassionate with yourself, laugh with yourself, and try if you can fake it till you make it. So it's okay to wallow for a bit if you feel like it, but don't stay there. If you think like, oh, this is lasting too long, get yourself out there, even if you don't want to, and fake the joy and the fun until you actually feel it. And it may take you a little while, but please don't isolate yourself. If you need me time, that's different. But find the balance between being alone and being with others. We are not living in a vacuum. We are living with other people. And also other people will mirror your behavior. So, and this Venus went into retrograde last Friday. And now this is really a time to acknowledge your own value, the love for yourself, and you will see this also reflected in other people. So the way other people respond to you is really how you feel about yourself. And maybe on the surface you go like, it's not true, but really you know this is true. So if you see other people acting a certain way around you and you feel perhaps harshly judged or triggered, see if this says anything about the way you feel about yourself. Have they hit a nerve because you know it's true? Or if you get really pissed off because you know it isn't true? That is not what the energy I'm talking about. But often we get most triggered and most angry about something because we know it's true. So if other people are mirroring to you that you are not loving yourself as much as you deserve, do you feel rejected? Do you feel not seen? Do you feel misunderstood? How are these things you also feel about yourself? Just take note, especially now, what's happening. This is really a time to revalue what you're worth, what you're passionate about, what you love. Not just yourself, but what do you love to do? What do you want to put your energy in? What is worth your energy? This is a time to explore. This is really, retrogrades are not our enemy. Retrogrades are a time to reassess, rethink, reevaluate. It's a time to learn. It's a wake up call. Otherwise we just keep going and keep being triggered, and if you don't do anything with that and just, yeah, like I did, have a little pity party and don't reflect and think like, where's this coming from, then this will go in circles and repeat itself forever and ever and ever, and you never get anywhere. So this is a precious time. It's beautiful, so don't be afraid of it, but it may hurt, it may sting. Nothing stings more than acknowledging and how you really feel about yourself. But that is not something you can't change. If you notice that you don't really like yourself that much, then why? Why? Keep asking why. It just means, is it even valid? Is it even justified that you don't love yourself? Or should you be loved just like everybody else? We all deserve to be loved. Why? What is wrong with you that you do not deserve to be loved? What is different about you or less about you than anyone else? Can you be honest? There's nothing less about you or worse about you or not good or lovable about you. You are just as lovable and perfect as anybody else. So what makes you so special not to love yourself? Why can you see this in other people? Why can you love other people? And why not yourself? Ask yourself these questions. Only you have the answer. So for this week, for our tarot reading, I asked for how can we best use the Venus retrograde energy. And this card came up and it sort of made me ponder. It's the creator of bells, and it's from the Numinous Tarot. So the creator of bells, yeah, it's a different title. It's the Queen of Air, so the Queen of Swords. And yeah, at first I thought, you sort of I didn't really expect an air, a swords card to come up when it comes to feelings. It's not that doesn't have anything to do with feelings, but it's more about our mind and our thoughts. But of course, what I was just saying, it's often our mind that judges. Our mind is judging our love, our self-compassion. It's not our heart. We do this all with our thinking, like, oh, my nose is wrong, or I am this, I'm not smart enough, I'm not, and it's all judged from up here and in comparison to other people. It has nothing to do with what your heart truly knows. So the creator of bells, or the queen of swords, is very, yeah, a fierce protector of the truth. She is a truth teller. No bullshit. So yeah, harsh, even harsh truths. Sometimes you have to hear these harsh truths about yourself. And you also have to laugh about it a little, but really, just be honest with yourself. Don't make a big story around it. Don't let yourself be influenced by all these emotions, because there's a difference from a heart knowing and emotions. We often think emotions are true. You know, how do you feel? And but emotions are temporary. They're just sort of input, but they're not who we are. We are not our emotions. So do not let yourself get distracted by your emotions, by how you feel. It's also not in your mind, so it's not the harsh judgment, but it's like deeper down in your heart, you know the truth. So be independent in your thoughts and judgments. So yes, you see yourself and your behavior mirrored in others, but also please do not let other people's judgments be your truth about you. Let yourself be inspired and like take this as input. Like, oh, that's interesting that this person reacts this way with me. But don't let that be the truth. If somebody thinks you're an asshole, it doesn't mean you are one. So that's really what she is saying. Like, hello, this is the truth. You know the truth. Why are you running away from it? Yeah, in our own light, I'm just sort of paraphrasing now, but we are most afraid of our own light. It's almost overwhelming that we sort of dim this light. Like, oh, do not let this be seen. But it's your truth. Go for it. Be this fierce protector of truth. Be independent in your thought and judgment. Be you. That's all. It's really so simple. Just let go of all that mind chatter and all these imprints and judgment and all these guilt and all this other distraction. Really, it's all distraction from a heart's knowing. Listen, be quiet and listen. Don't distract yourself. So often when we get triggered and when we are hurt and our emotions and our feelings are hurt, we look for distractions. The last thing we do is go down here in silence and listen to our heart. We are so scared of what that heart is telling us. We go out, we start binging Netflix, we drink alcohol, you may smoke, you may have other addictions, you may go out with friends or other things, anything to distract us from being alone and listening to our heart. But your heart knows the truth, and your heart has a no bullshit approach. So you do not have to go to the store and buy hundreds of self-help books and to find the truth. It's right here. And that's what I'm going to leave you with this week, because I am now also going to listen to this truth. I'm going to do some yoga, meditation, unpack my bag, and relax. But the first thing I wanted to do today when I got home was to connect to you, say hello, and wish you a very good week. And I see you again next week. Bye bye. Happy week to you.